In this example today, we are going to use binary variables to turn on and off product lines. And this is where we're going to be using that z, that very large number, to connect our integer variable to the binary variable. So let's get started. The Great Threads Company is capable of manufacturing shirts, shorts, pants, skirts, and jackets. Each type of clothing requires the company to have the appropriate type of machinery available, and the machinery can be rented at weekly rates shown on the next tab. Other resource requirements shown on the next tab as well, and the company wants to come up with a solution to maximize profit. So let's go over here to our model tab, and we can see we've got all of our information in here. We have labor hours and cloth needed per unit, selling price, variable cost, and fixed cost for the equipment. So we have two sets of decision variables in this one. We have whether or not to rent the equipment and how many units we're going to produce. So let's think about this. What kind of decision variable is this here? Units produced. Well, units produced is going to be an integer variable because we're looking for the number, how many to make. So if I look up here, renting equipment, this is a decision. This is a yes, no. So this is going to be our binary variable. So we've got these two things that we're going to be dealing with as we go through this problem. And then we have our constraints on the resources, which are strictly just labor hours and cloth, and then we have our monetary outputs. So let's go, and I am going to make some range names here, because we're going to use solver and we like doing range names. And actually, I don't remember exactly what we're going to need, so let's just range name everything. I didn't mean to do that, so let's try again. Let me grab these ones first because these are my two up and down ones. So formulas, create from selection, top row. I'm gonna need, well, we can grab all of these. Create from selection, left column. And we're just gonna range name everything because why not? Create from selection, left column. Oh, see, I've already got a fixed cost of equipment there. So yeah, we'll rename that. And then I'm going to select these three rows. There's going to be something in this one here, so let's grab that. Create from selection. And I'm just going to stick a 2 here so we can have everything range named. Okay, so I've given everything a range name. I don't know if everything needed it, but that's fine. Using formula, paste names, paste list. There we go. We've got everything in there. Okay, so let's go and let's calculate out a couple of things first. And I want to go to my resources used. And I know that this is the maximum resources I have. So these are both going to be, whatever I use has to be less than or equal to what I have available. So my labor hours, and once again, for the context of my formulas, I'm just going to put a bunch of ones in there. And so my labor hours is going to just be a sum product of how many units that I produce with how many labor hours it takes. Okay, nice and simple. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Now the problem, this is the only problem I think that we'll get in there is since I named these up here, I'm not really going to be able to drag this down, but that's okay. So we'll just do sum product of units produced and cloth per yard. And so those are our two big constraints. Okay, so our revenue will be a sum product between the units produced and the selling price. Our variable cost is, once again, just a sum product of our units produced and our variable. So this is the one place I screwed up. I really probably shouldn't have range named all of those because I was unable to just drag this down and make things easier on myself. So in fact, let me show you how to fix that. So we sit there and we went, oh, I messed up. I didn't want to do this. Go into name manager. And so labor hours, I want to get rid of that and just go delete. And it just deletes the name. Cloth per yard. Go in here, delete. Selling price per unit, delete. Variable cost per unit, delete. So we got rid of all those. Let's get rid of fixed costs for equipment. Oh, I forgot, I didn't get that one. So fixed costs for equipment, delete. And then we're going to get rid of 2 here, delete that. So I'll come back and make this 1 again. Just get rid of that. I am going to, cancel that. I'm going to remake this range name and go create from selection, left column, delete all these, and then repaste the list. Alright, so that's a quick way of fixing things. So let's go back and do this. Now we can drag it. So we're going to equal some product, and we have the units produced. That one will stay the same. We've got labor hours on the top. This is why I try to make sure that my constraints are listed in the same order as what I have in my data, because then I can just go like this, drag that down, double click on that, just make sure it rolled properly. We'll come down here, we'll do the same thing. You can see revenue, variable cost, and fixed cost for equipment are all together. So we'll sum product our units produced with our selling price. And then I'll be able to drag that down, but I'll only be able to do that once because fixed cost for equipment, that's our decision variable. Are we renting it, yes or no? So I'm going to equal my, do I rent the equipment, with my fixed cost for equipment. And there we go. Oh, I forgot to put the sum product in the beginning. So let's sum product, hit tab, put that in. So there is our equation. So we're going to equal revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost. And so there we go. Right now our profit is negative $7,200. All right, so let's go and we're going to run this solution. So let's go into solver, go up solver. What are we objective? Our objective is to maximize our profit. So we'll put that to max. We're going to do that by allowing it to change the number of units that we're going to produce. I'm going to hit comma and whether or not you can rent equipment. And then we're going to add a constraint, and it's just these resources used are less than or equal to what's available. Hit OK. We have it non-constrained. One other variable that we're going to need to add is we know that our units produced are going to, actually, let's just leave it like it is for now and we'll fix it. So we just say solve, found a solution, all constraints are satisfied, and let's take a look at what's happening. Well, first of all, we need to go back and fix this. And I'll fix this right now. You can see that, oh, we didn't put an integer constraint in. So we have a decimal on what's going on. So we're producing pants, shorts, and jackets. We have decimals. We don't want that. So let's just go back in here and go add. Take this one here, we'll put in our friendly integer constraint, say OK, and say solve. Okay, so that took care of the problem. We have whole numbers there, great. We're going to make $57,000 a week by making 966 shorts and 379 jackets. But wait a minute, something does not look right. We're not renting any equipment. So what's going on here? Well, we need to put in a binary constraint for that. Okay, so we'll go back to our solver. But that binary constraint's already 1 and 0s. So let's just add that in. Let's see, maybe that was a problem. Maybe it was just we forgot the binary constraint. We'll hit OK. So now we have a binary constraint in there, and we hit solve, and nothing changes. So what's going on? Why is it not renting the equipment that we need for the units produced? Right now there's nothing that ties those units produced to the renting of equipment. And so this is where we use our, what we call the Z variable. So if you remember from our lectures, the Z variable is just a large number that helps to activate the effective capacity using the binary variables. Because we need some way to link this decision with whether or not we can produce these jackets. Because otherwise Excel has no idea. And so, like I said, this is the way that we link it, is through this effective capacity. So let's come over here and we're just going to, we'll put a Z value, and it just needs to be something that's reasonably large. What does reasonably large mean? It just means that it's got to be bigger than any of the answers that you can end up getting. You could come over here and put in, for this one, you could put in 10 million, because we have nothing that tells us what the effective capacity would be. So if we had a problem where the factory says that it can only produce 1,000 units, well then we put in 1,000. Alright, so over here Z, we ran this once so we can see it's only going to be 1,000, so let's put in 100,000. Heck, let's put in 1 million, why not? I don't know how many zeros I added there, not really that important. Put the commas in, so that's 1 billion. That works. So, because it doesn't matter. Because this large number just helps Solver to understand the relationship between renting the equipment and producing the units. And this video is getting a little bit long, so we're going to end it right there. In the next video, we're actually going to integrate this into our model.